Hi, welcome to The Journey. I'm Julieann Hartman, and this is part 2 of the Billy Blanks story, which I am so excited to bring you all. Billy Blanks has been in my life for the last 32 years, which just freaks me out because it has gone by so fast. But you know, we've all been influenced in our life, and I'm so glad that this has been such a great influence. So welcome to the show. Thanks for coming back. And there's lots to talk about, so we're going to get right into it. But I want you all to listen to the determination and the passion and the compassion in this man that makes him do what he does every day, and why he even started on this journey with martial arts to get to where he is today. So when we left off is that you were now getting into karate. You had all your friends, chose another direction. You chose karate. Now, what was that like? So were you in a lot of peer pressure as far as, did anybody know you were taking karate lessons, and how'd you pay for them?
Well, to get involved with karate, they build a youth center. I always wanted to study martial arts, but my family couldn't afford it.
Right.
So when they built the Martin Luther King Center, it was affordable for us to go because it was a youth center where kids could go learn all kinds of things.
Oh, okay.
So I went to the youth center, and when I went to that youth center, like the situation that happened earlier, I told you guys about, I was with a gang. So in order for me to get out of the gang, you have to fight your way out of the gang.
Oh, okay.
So I fought my way out of the gang, didn't have to go there anymore, got involved with karate, and just kept going. Even though I had a hard time learning because had dyslexia, the karate instructor would go, if you want to learn, you have to go in the back and just kind of follow people. So I was just following.
So you would if he would go left, you'd go right?
Right.
Is that what was happening? Okay,
Right.
yeah.
And so I just go in the back, and I was just practice, and I never gave up. I just kept coming. He would come near. I'd be half an hour inside the gym by myself, just practicing. He'd see, and then he would teach me a little, little stuff, and then eventually I started picking it up.
But see, now that's another thing that somebody, or a child or a young man, could have gotten discouraged and said, well, how come I'm always in the back? Like, why can't I be in the front? Well, forget this whole thing and I'm leaving. But, that's what I love about you, is that you've always been a very humble person. And so, but you had a desire. Nothing was going to stop you. I want to just fast forward that. Do you still have that same desire that nothing's going to stop you?
Every day I get up.
Okay. Because sometimes we tend to lose that when we get comfortable. But I know that that there are so many more years in your life and so many more people that you're going to impact their lives. And so, okay, so now you're in the back, you probably feel, awkward at times because the other kids are maybe progressing a little bit faster than you.
Oh, the kids were learning so fast, and I was like, man, how come I can't pick that up? And then we would start going to competition. And I lost 16 competitions in a row. Went to my mom and said, I'm quitting. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm in the backyard practicing every day. These kids don't even practice karate. I asked them to come practice with me, and they don't want to do it, but I still go out and practice, and I lose. And then my mom said, Billy, you know what you got to do? If you're going out there to win a trophy, then you're not learning karate for the right reasons. If you're going out there to help yourself become a better person, then eventually you'll learn how to win. So I went and stuck it out, and I got in my backyard, just kept training, got my red belt. When I got my red belt, then all of a sudden, won my first tournament.
You won.
Won my first tournament.
Now, were you shocked?
No, I wasn't shocked, but I was like, man, this is what it feels like to win a first place trophy, right? I knew how hard the work was because I was not scared of the work. But just at the end of the day, after you fought these competitions and they walked up and gave you a trophy, it was like, whoa.
Okay, so, and I know you also had a hip issue as well. So you had a few, this is like determination. There was a lot of things that were, stopping you from pursuing the dreams and the goals. So what was wrong with your hip? Because I think weren't you like born with it?
Yeah, I had short tendons, and then I also had a hip impairment where I had a hip that was not grown fully.
Okay.
But I just kept saying, I'll be all right. I just kept going to karate, kept going through the pain. I went through the pain because I loved karate, because karate was teaching me how to focus, and it was teaching me how to be a better person, right? At that time. Because, like, again, I started with boxing, but all the coach kept saying is when you see blood, you got to go after the kid. You got to kill him, right? I always seen that stuff in our neighborhood. So I needed to focus. I liked what Bruce Lee did. I saw him take control of his body. So I wanted to be able to do that. And I just stuck with karate and started practicing, and I started seeing things change.
Now, did you have to stretch a little bit more or do any of those things because of the short tendons? And
I had to stretch every day. I used to take my legs and tie it to a pole and take a cord and have somebody get on the other side and pull the rope and take it out. But don't let me go. Even if I'm screaming, don't let me go.
oh my gosh.
And people used to do that,
I bet.
And I used to kept stretching and kept stretching. Still couldn't get too far with flexibility until I turned 28 years old. Then my flexibility came.
Well, when I met him, he was doing the splits. So
Yeah.
you were probably, what, in your 40s?
I was in my
At
40s.
that time
Right.
when I met him. So, and then that was an inspiration. It was like, well, if he can do it, we can do it.
Right.
So you didn't let the bad hip or the,
Nope.
and then the, what is it? Not
Tendons,
deformed hip,
short
but
tendons.
yeah.
No, because they told my mom.
Underdeveloped hip. That's
Right.
what we'll call it.
Right.
Yeah.
They told the doctor to my mom, your son will never be able to stretch. He'll never be able to kick high because of his hip impairment.
Right,
And
okay.
my tendons were tight.
Well, they were proven wrong.
Right.
So that's great. Okay, so now do you get onto a karate team and that, or how did it
So
go
what
from
happened
there?
is that, I just practiced and I started winning first place in brown belt, and then my instructor gave me a black belt, and that was
Okay.
going to be my first time competing as a black belt. So I went to Buffalo, New York, competed, took third place, and then from third place, it was a big tournament that came up. It was called the United States AAU National Championship, 1975 in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
And I was like, should I go to that competition or shouldn't I? At the time, I was married. I got married when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
And I asked my ex-wife, I said, hey, do you think I should go to that tournament? And she said, yeah, you should go if you want to go. I said, you think I'm good enough? She said, well, go see. And I got in my truck. I drove to Cleveland, Ohio. I'll never forget it. I walked into this place. When I walked into the place, and then martial arts magazine, you see all these famous fighters.
Right.
So when I walked into the place, I'm looking at all these famous people. They're
Right.
there to fight and win this national title because this is the first time that it ever happened in America that a person could make the United States karate team.
Oh, wow.
So I said, you know what? I ain't got nothing to lose. Let me go ahead and just try it.
Oh, my gosh. That's amazing.
So I took a chance. And I got out there, and the first person I fought was this really famous guy. He was ranked number 2 in the nation. And they said Billy Blanks and Victor Moore. And I got out. I went, whoa. I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking at, he's too good. But I ended up fighting. I beat him.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So what's it like now? Were you shaking in your boots? Were you like, because this was something that was like, this was going to change your life. Did you
Right.
realize that this would be a life-changing situation? Win or lose?
For me, it was I always been this kid. I wanted to test myself. So if I lost, I still won. I felt like I still won because I'm fighting the best in the world.
Right.
So give me a chance to see where I stood and what did I have to do to make myself be better, even in those times, So when Victor came on the floor, I wasn't scared of him. I wanted to see how good I was, and I ended up winning. I was like,
Okay, was it the same age?
no, I was 18, 20, but let me see, I was 1975, I think I was like 22 years old.
Okay.
And he was 35.
Oh, okay.
He already had been fighting for a long time. He was the guy that, he said he fought Bruce Lee. You did well with Bruce Lee. I ended up beating him, and then I fought another guy who was from New York City, and I ended up fighting 12 times that day, and I won all 12 fights. And then it gave me a chance to come back Sunday to compete for the finals. So I ended up coming back Sunday, and I fight 12 more times. And I fought this guy. His name was Walter Fagan. He was like one of the top martial art people in the world. And I fought him for the championship. And I ended up becoming the first American who ever won a national title.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so how did you afford this? Because did you have a job?
Yeah, at the time I was working for Amco Transmission. I was one of the best transmission guys.
MCO.
Right. I was one of the best transmission guys in the world. I mean, I could take a transmission out of a car and within 20, 30 minutes I could have it out, put it on the bench. Mechanics will take it apart, put it back together, and I put it back in the car.
Oh my gosh. Because not only were you married, but you had your daughter Shelley.
Yeah.
And so you already had a family, so you
Right.
had to provide for them, plus go and do your
thing.
martial arts
Right.
thing. So, oh my gosh. So now you win all of this. What does that do for you, for your status now as being a martial artist?
Well, because I won the United States Championship, I was the first American who ever won it, it put me up here as far as amateur competitor, right? And so it gave me a chance to try for the United States karate team. I never been on the airplane in my life at that time. And I was never separated from my ex-wife at that time. Right?
Okay.
I was so everywhere I went, she went.
Right.
And at that time, this was gonna be the first time I was gonna be separated from her. So I started crying. I cried like a baby, right? Because she was pregnant with my son BJ, and I had to go to California for the first time. And I got on the airplane. And it was my first time being on the airplane. When the airplane took off, I was like, oh, I was kind of nervous.
Well, isn't that funny though? Think about it. He fights 22 matches in 2 days, and then he's afraid to get on the airplane.
Yep, I'm afraid to get on the airplane.
That's crazy.
Right. And then
but it's true though. I've heard that many times.
Serious. And then the plane, when the plane got ready to land, I was even more scared.
I bet.
Because we were hitting all these bumps, and the plane was going all over the place. Then we landed. We got here in Long Beach, California, and we said, okay. I'm like, man, I'm here getting ready to try for the United States karate team, right? And we go in. The coach set us all down. It's like 24 guys in the room. I'm the youngest person in the room, and he talks to us and says, okay, this is what's going to be happening for the next 2 weeks. If you guys want to make the team, this is what you're going to have to do. And I was very disciplined, right? And I said, okay. So he put me in a room. Okay, you're going to be with him, you're going to be with him, you're going to be with him. So this is my first time in California. I never seen any kind of drugs or anything, right?
Right.
So they put me in a room with this guy who's about 35 years old. And he goes, he comes in the room, and I'm sitting down on my bed. He gets on this bed. He reaches inside this envelope, and he takes a key, and he put it in. And he pulled out this white stuff.
Oh, no.
Right? And he starts to sniff it in his nose. And I go, man, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm like dumbfounded because I don't know what it is, right? He says, I said, what are you doing? He goes, I got bad kidneys, so I need to make sure my kidneys are good. So he's like that, stuff it up his nose. He didn't give it to me, but he just said, I got bad kidneys, so I have to get my kidneys. And he would jump up and go, do all this crazy stuff, right? I didn't know what it was. Even though I didn't find to what it was in maybe 5-6 years later.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
Here's this kid from the ghetto in Erie, Pennsylvania. Obviously, you never got into drugs. You wouldn't have known what it is.
No, serious. I was like sitting there going, okay, cool, no problem. And then, because I was shy. I didn't really even then. I won a United States title. I didn't walk around with a chip on my shoulder.
Right.
I was just a shy kid and just disciplined and focused, right? And so the coaches would go, hey, I would hear him say, hey, you think that kid gonna be able to do anything? And he looked like don't have it, And I was the only one that won.
That is awesome.
But that's because they looked at me from the inside.
Yes.
Outside, because I wasn't a person who liked to show off. Because most people were like, oh yeah, look at how good I am. I wasn't like that. I was like, okay, yes, sir. But when it came time for me to fight, I would flick the switch.
So what I love about that is, again, we are saying that you're a very humble person. You always have been. I mean, as far as I've known him. But, what is that? What does that mean when you say I flipped a switch? So how can you be very shy and then all of a sudden you're not and you're now a warrior?
Okay.
Like, how does that, what does that flipping the switch mean?
Well, flipping the switch to me means that I got to show you how bold I am and truthful I am in martial arts. So when it came time for me to fight, then you see the warrior.
So it's like you had the ability, like you knew on the inside of you that you knew how to do those, you knew how to take somebody down or whatever it was. It wasn't about how great you were as a person. No. It came down to where your body was a weapon, right? That's what I love about, when we talk about the armor of God. Right, because it says, and also it says that, that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty in Christ. So when you know that it's time to go in any time in your life now, spiritually, you know what weapons to use.
Right.
So you may be like, nice Billy on the outside, but man, just
when it comes time,
devil try to mess with him.
Right. No, and I think that's important. I think for me it was important because I don't feel like I'm in a room training. I don't feel like I have to show off in that room.
Right.
My goal was to get in there and work with everybody, see how to better myself. And then when it came time for me to get out there and prove that I was a good fighter, then I'd show you.
Right.
And, I was blessed enough to be able to become 7 times world karate champion because I knew how to, when I walked away from the ring, I knew how to leave that back there and be Billy the person, the man.
Right. So now how did you handle that with your personal life, with your wife and Shelly?
Well, at the time I was pretty blessed that my kids, my wife, ex-wife, wanted to do karate.
Oh,
So
so
we
you
all
did it together.
We all
Okay.
did it together.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, his daughter Shelley is an amazing martial
Martial
artist, and yeah. So and Billy Jr. is probably one of the most creative people I know, as far as
Yeah.
it may not have been martial arts, but it
And
was
he was good in martial arts too, but he just his thing was dance. He
Dance,
loved
yeah.
singing, things like that. And
amazing. And Shelley is gorgeous, but Billy Jr. also is just stunning. So
thank you.
anyway, well, he's a mix between the two, but he's just stunning. Anyway, I mean, what a sweet guy too. So now let's go on. So now you've made the team. Now you're like the champion. And where do you go from here? Like, did you quit your job? Did you start getting sponsors? What happened?
Well, I had opportunity. After I became made the United States karate team, I wanted to be able to go to the World Championships, right? And when I went to as an amateur athlete, most amateur athletes don't make money because back in those days, if you made money, they would kick you off the amateur team.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you had to get a sponsor. So I needed a sponsor. So they invited me to this Rotary Club where a lot of wealthy people were there. And they wanted me to do a little karate demonstration. So I came in and did a karate demonstration. They said, okay, we're going to sponsor you to the World Championships. I was like, yeah, And they gave me an envelope, right?
Okay.
I'll never forget it, man. I was so happy.
How much did you need?
Huh?
How much
I
did you
needed
need?
at least $1,500
Okay.
to go to the World Championships, to be able to have food, buy a sweatsuit, have a uniform, get the airplane ticket, stay in the hotel, stuff like that.
So now you have a whole room full of people.
Right.
That you're
right?
doing.
And they go, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring Billy Blanks up to the stage. So I'll go up on the stage, and I'm like, yeah. I want to say thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to go to compete for
Right.
our city and plus the country. I just want to say thank you. And then they gave me an envelope, and I said, I went home. I didn't open it up. I went home. And I told my ex-wife, I said, open it up, see how much money they give us. And she opened it up.
How much was in there? This is terrible.
It's $25.
Oh,
It
gosh.
was $25. So I went like this as a kid. What were they trying to say to me? I'm black. I don't deserve to go.
Right.
And I could have tucked that for, as a grew up in the neighborhood that I grew up
Right.
in. I could have tucked that when, you know what? I'm going to get frustrated and just start going around beating up people and start doing all this bad stuff. But I
Right.
said, you know what? Just let it go. Because I know my mom would help me out.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom and her friends got together and they cooked chicken dinners, apple pies. They cooked all these things on a Sunday and Saturday. And they sold all this stuff and gave me the money. I went to the World Championships.
Oh, my gosh.
Right.
That is awesome. Okay, so how does your life change now that you're in the World Championships?
Well, my life changed, as being a world karate champion. Like that's what I tell people, on the outside, Billy Blanks the karate champion, but on the inside, Billy Blanks was still lost.
Right. So there's no Jesus in your life
No.
now. Yeah.
No, and I was
But
like,
you had the praying mother.
had a praying mother, and I
Yes.
was walking in her blessings. That's
Yeah.
and when my mom died, things changed. But I fought and went to the World Championships in Spain, and I took a silver and I took a bronze medal there. And I went to the World Games and won a medal. And then I went to Pan American Games and placed. And I was like the first American who ever did that. So when I came back to the United States, I was, popular among all the karate people. I
Right.
was very popular. So then I set other goals. After I did that, I said, okay, I want to turn professional. Fought for Budweiser and won professional championship 4 times. So I became 7 times world karate champion. And then through that, I wanted to be able to help people.
Right. So did you always want to help people? You just didn't probably know how that was going to happen? Because I think that's kind of been a part of you.
No,
anyway.
my goal was to one day be able to help. I always wanted to help people because of what I went through in school. What I
Yes.
went through in school, I learned that, reading papers and reading books was not going to be the way that I make it. And so I was going to have to do something that I knew that I liked, and it was fitness.
Right.
And so I said, I want to become like a doctor in fitness. I want to be able to help people from the inside out. And at that time, I didn't know what I was saying.
Right.
I mean, I knew what I was saying, but I just wanted to help people from the inside out because that's where I felt like I was hurt.
Okay. So now, how are you as a dad?
As a dad, I was loving. I was with my kids all the time. My kids were always with me, and I would always, when I left karate, I left karate. I didn't bring karate home. We would go, we'd sit and talk, we'd go play games. We would do a little bit of everything. I did my best, especially, coming from a neighborhood where I came from. I always saw my dad work and take time to help us. So when I had Shelly, even though Shelly wasn't my daughter, I took her on as my daughter. Didn't matter what color her skin was.
Right.
She was just a child that was mine. And I wanted to take care of her and teach her everything that I knew. And then my son came along. The goal was to be able to teach them to do good things in life, help people be the best you can be.
Right.
And so it happened, things
Yeah.
like that. And good things were happening because I was doing good things, even though I didn't know at the time who really God was.
Right. So were there times where, you might run into some tough times and you'd be like, God, are you there? I mean, did you ever really talk to him at all, or you just really relied on your mom's prayers?
But I relied on
works?
I relied on my mom's prayers, and I relied on, back in those days, work.
Okay, so yeah.
So
if you worked and you did good, you would get good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. My father always said, Billy, it's the content of your character is what's going to make you who you are.
Right.
My dad was a hard-working man, but when he died, the whole city came to his funeral because everybody knew him because he would go do stuff for everybody. So he kind of laid the track down on what we should do in our life, And so when I went after becoming a good martial artist and a good person to help people, it was all about watching my mom and dad. And then hard work. Discipline, hard work, stay focused. Discipline, hard work, stay focused. That's all I kept saying.
So, question, let me ask you what stay focused meant to you back then, as opposed to what it means to you now that you have Jesus as your Lord and Savior. I mean, and it's, it's the biggest part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But what did that mean to stay focused back then to you?
Said not to get sidetracked and look at the things, what's going on around my neighborhood, and not be able to not copy people, because it was easy for me to go, you know what, let me get in this gang and go do what they do.
Right.
But I want to stay focused because I want to be able to go out of the gang and do stuff that's different. Watching Bruce Lee.
Right.
I got a chance to see people on TV. Ooh, I want to be like that guy. And I know being like that guy on TV was not being like those people in the street.
Right.
So, and I saw the wrong. I mean, I saw my cousins. I saw my uncles. When I was a kid, I love my uncle. My uncle was a pretty cool dude, but I would go with him. He'd take me to a prostitute house.
Oh, God.
I'd be sitting in the car waiting for him to come out.
Oh, my
right?
gosh.
I'm talking about 12 o'clock at night. I'd be hid down in the dark, but it'd be in alleys, right?
Right.
Where these prostitutes was. So I see a lot of bad stuff like that, but that's not what I want. I wanted in my life. I saw them do bad things, but I saw them do good things too. So how sometimes you can go, I want to take the good stuff from this person, and the bad stuff, he can have it. I don't want to be like that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really good.
So,
and sometimes it goes either way. It could be that you follow and you do exactly what you saw, the bad stuff, or you completely turn away from it.
Yeah.
And your life would not be, again, as we repeat that again, your life would not be the way it is today had you chosen that other route.
No, you're right.
So now where are you at now as far as you've got, now you're getting paid by to be a martial artist and all that, so you don't have to have your job anymore? Are you able to?
Yeah. So what happened is I got offered to fight professionally. When I got offered to fight professionally, I had a really good job, making a lot of good back in those days, making good money, and I needed to support my family, right? So I went and talked to my mom and dad. I said, Mom, I got this opportunity. Some people want to manage me and want me to move to Boston. What do you think? My mom said, no, boy, you need to keep your job and forget about that karate stuff. And I go, okay. So then I just talked to my ex-wife, and I said, hey, what do you think? So, Billy, if you think you can do it, don't give up on your career now, do it. So I was like, okay. And then I went to my foreman, and I said, sir, I have an opportunity. I was wondering if I could take 3 months off. And he goes, Mr. Blanks, come here, sit down. He said, listen. He said, if you believe that you can do something, you should go do it, because in this business, with you working for us, we believe that the job that you're doing is good, and we believe that we're doing good things to help people in life, right? So we can't allow you to take this time off. And I went, okay. She said, you got to make a decision. And I said, thank you. And I left the job and went to pursue my career.
All right. Again, we have to stop. It's already been 25, 30 minutes. These shows go by so fast. But you guys got to stay tuned and hear now, because we're getting later in life, and we're going to see now how God starts working in his life. I mean, like in a level in which brought us, our family, to Christ. If it wasn't for him, I mean, I'm sure God would have got our attention at some point. But if it wasn't for him, I would not be here today probably doing this. That he brought us to a church and he brought us to the Bible first, and would read the Bible to me, but I wouldn't want to hear it. And then one day he invited me to church, and then everything changed. So we're going to get to that story later. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, you got to come back next week for the 3rd episode. It's going to be awesome. I hope you're enjoying it. You know, this is the story of Billy Blanks. Not everybody is going to hear the story in detail of what we've given today, so I really, really am excited about it. And so if you're seeing this for the first time, you can go to the Healing Journeys Today website. You can go to the platform on YouTube, and you can be a subscriber, because we would love to have you be a part of the family. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.